So around a year ago, we started working on Hazel's animation system. This was something that existed to some extent already pretty early on in the engine. It was a very simple and primitive system back then. Some of you will remember that I made a devlog about it a while ago. What you're watching at the moment is a scene that Tim made using Hazel's brand new animation system, which was primarily developed by Zero X. You may remember him from such videos as testing Hazel's performance. Yeah, he's been around for quite a while now. What I thought I would show you guys today is a little bit of what the development process of this animation system was actually like. It all started with this message from Zero X. For animation going forward, will you be rolling your own or plan to integrate something like Oz, which is an open source C++ skeletal animation library and toolset, as you can see. To which I replied, well, I was planning to roll my own, but this looks interesting. I'll check it out. Now, me being me, when I say thanks, I'll check it out, I probably mean something more along the lines of, I will someday in my life probably take a look at this thing. So about a month later, this. Zero X had just gone ahead and slapped it in. There were some issues, like for example, the dependency on the FBX SDK was something I was not too thrilled about. But a few days later, it was basically working, although I was told to not get too excited. Always a good idea to profile your work and see how it performs. And in this case, well, it ended up being pretty good. Now, because we're building a game engine here, it's very, very important to consider the workflow. How is this actually going to work and integrate with the existing asset system? How are we going to be able to author animations and just in general deal with them in the editor in an actual production quality way? I think that's something that a lot of people overlook. That kind of whole workflow system and architecture in a lot of ways is actually much more challenging to design and implement compared to the actual physical animation code. As usual, there ended up being a bunch of issues that Zero X and I had to work through, and who could forget the physics system? Another super important thing when you're working on a game engine. There are various systems. They have to work together. Not everything is just an isolated test. That makes things more difficult and time consuming. And hey, I mean, it can be a struggle sometimes. Lots of debugging later and some excitement. It was finally starting to come together, workflow and all. Good things always take time. We also discovered that Asimp, the library we were using for 3D model loading, had its problems. As I said, it's a long process. It was around this time that we decided to kind of officially switch to GLTF as the most supported Hazel 3D model format. Now, all of this work had got us to a pretty good position. We were able to import animations, apply them to various meshes. We could switch between various animation states, as you're seeing in this scene right here. Of course, it would be nice to blend between animation states, but hey, has to start somewhere. So overall, pretty good progress. And then, a few months later, out of nowhere, Zero X had decided to rewrite the animation system, this time without using Oz animation, but instead replacing it with our own custom system. We even briefly considered using this new animation system in Ludum Dare 50, but ultimately decided against it. Looks like Zero X had fulfilled the prophecy. The new system was working really well, and the performance was great too. We finally had the beginnings of a solid animation workflow in Hazel. I say the beginning because, well, this really is only just the beginning. There are still so many features that we need to add. For example, as I mentioned, blending between animations is really, really important. We also want inverse kinematics. The animation system also has to play nice with the physics system. These are the kinds of things that the Hazel team is currently working on. Zero X has already started working on the animation graph system, which will be really important for deciding what states to blend between and how. And Peter's just having fun with ragdolls.